saved by Hart. Very well indeed. Leaping to his left. What a tackle that was from Ashley Cole. Tremendous tackle. There it goes, chance. Lescott puts England in front.
It's Johnson. It could be a chance. It's a goal. Glenn Johnson scores.
Blocked by John Terry. Well done, Terry.
Fantastic tracking back by Milner. That was excellent play.
Fantastic block from Scott Parker. Typical Parker. Threw himself at it.
Oh, brilliant finish from Gerrard. Another great night for Steven Gerrard. And it into the net by Ashley Young.
In comes the cross. Well, that's there with a flick. Great shot. Into the net. Wayne Rooney. What a glorious goal.
So a few players, a few selections to discuss with Graham Taylor. First of all, Graham, obviously Wayne Rooney back, so somebody had to drop out, either Andy Carroll or Danny Welbeck. And Roy Hodgson has gone for the Manchester United combination. Is that why he's gone for it?
Well, only Roy knows that, but I suspect there is something in that. I mean, when you are playing with people on a regular basis and you're at the level, international level, then it makes common sense to put them together.
Milner does a huge amount of work, does he? Maybe clearly doesn't have the pace of Walcott, maybe doesn't have the creativity of an orthodox outside right, but in a game like this evening when a draw will do, it makes common sense, doesn't it? Despite the talk and the rumours maybe that Walcott would start, that Milner starts instead.
I think Walcott at the moment in his career is an impact player, I have to say that. I think Milner, you know, he does so much unseen work. He works tremendously hard, and when you've only got the two central midfield players, boy, is it important that those wide midfield players work for you. And yet you need to go forward. So you've got Ashley Young on the other side, and I think it's a good combination, that with Young on the one side and Milner on the other.
Young needs to show, Chris Waddle, doesn't he, at these championships? He's been a little bit anemic by his standards.
Yeah, coming into the last few friendlies he's been very, very good, and he's coming this tournament and he started up front. I thought he found it hard, that role. I think he ended up playing as an out-and-out striker, which you don't want your winger to do that. If you're playing a winger inside, you want him to be coming into pockets and getting the ball, which teams find it hard to pick up, and he didn't. He played too far advanced for me. Then to put him out wide against Sweden, you've got to say he had an ineffective game. Again, he kept drifting inside, where I thought he had the beating of the fullback if he stayed wide, but he wanted to drift inside. So yes, there's a lot of people talking about him should he be in the team or not.
And Walcott, for you, coming off the bench, I mean, you pointed out to me the other night, aside of his hat-trick against Croatia and his impact in Kiev against Sweden, his England career has been a bit stop and start, Theo Walcott.
Well, it has when he started. I think at this minute in time, I think Roy likes to be well organised. I think he has his team defending very well in numbers. And it's like tonight, if it's not working, you've got an option of throwing Andy Carroll on and Walcott with his pace, and they can change a game. I think that's the best role for him at the moment.
Terrific noise, some drumming as well, little knot of England fans away to our right, but otherwise it's the blue and yellow of Ukraine everywhere. Blue for the sky, yellow for the grain. That's the reason behind the colours of Ukraine. I want to mention actually Jodian Lescott, because we talked so much about Rio Ferdinand before we came out here. How has Lescott settled in there as the teams are about to come out alongside John Terry for you?
I think he's done well. I think he's done fine. I think he's been consistent, and the business of having Lescott as a natural left footer and Terry going the other side as a natural right footer, I think it's given a balance to that back four.
And just a quick one on Scott Parker as the teams come out, because he was struggling in the last 15 minutes here when it was very hot in Donetsk against France in the first game. That season looked like it might have caught up with him a little bit.
We've seen it in both the games, that towards the end of the game he seems to be affected and looked very tired. But I'm very pleased, as you know, with Steven Gerrard. The role that Roy has said to him, go and play your normal role. And I think Gerrard, in the last two games, has been superb.
England players just turning away to the England fans in the corner and just applauding them. Terrific noise, great din, Ukrainian flags being waved everywhere. England in a hostile atmosphere, needing a point to qualify for the quarter-finals of Euro 2012. As we're asked to stand for the national anthems. Well, I have to say the national anthem very well respected by the crowd here in Donetsk. No booing or anything at all.
Well, suddenly England feel a long way from home. They haven't beaten a host nation since 1954. 5 attempts since then. Of course, they don't have to win tonight, but they can't play for a draw. The England lineup is Joe Hart, Glenn Johnson, John Terry, Jolyon Lescott and Ashley Cole, Stephen Gerrard, Scott Parker, James Milner, Rooney back, Ashley Young and Danny Welbeck. So one change, Rooney for Carroll, who is a little unfortunate, I guess, to lose his place, but could still have a big part to play in this tournament. Now, without Shevchenko, surprisingly, Ukraine have also left out other experienced players like Nazarenko and Voronin. Also, Mikulik loses his place in defence. So the Ukraine lineup this evening, which has 5 players from Dynamo Kiev: Piatov, the goalkeeper, Fuseyev, Kasharidi, Rakitsky and Selin, the back 4. Then Yarmolenko, Timoshuk, Konoplyanka. The surprise selection is Garmash in midfield, and then the 2 forwards, Milevski and Devic. The referee is Victor Kasai from Hungary, who refereed the Champions League final at Wembley between Manchester United and Barcelona. It's a fantastic atmosphere, but just a personal reflection, I think England have played in more intimidating arenas than this. Certainly Zagreb, Moscow and also Istanbul. So we're about to get underway. England all in white, and Wayne Rooney, when he's originally banned for 3 games from the tournament, feared that he might not get here. But when they managed to overturn that 1 game, of course, to make it just 2, his selection irresistible, really. England had to keep the pot boiling to make sure that when he returned to the side, it was a meaningful game, and it very much is. Ukraine in a change strip. They're not playing in yellow tonight, they're playing predominantly in blue with yellow numbers. And just before we get underway, let's have a final thought on proceedings from Chris Waddle.
Well, I'm looking for England not to defend, just don't play too cautious, just play a normal game, and what will happen. I think so far they've looked quite resilient at the back, friendlies as well, and it's all about Ukraine, what they got to offer going forward. Can they cause problems? They've got players who can. It's going to be an interesting game.
Ukraine in the absence of Shevchenko, captained tonight by Timoshuk. The record caps, 119 caps, played for Bayern Munich in that Champions League final against Chelsea. The players are really desperate to get underway here, but we're waiting for television to give us the go-ahead. As we've been saying, it's a much cooler atmosphere than we had here for the opening game against France. This later kick-off, it's 10:15 here, local time, 2 hours ahead of you in the UK. Everyone's ready to get underway. Remember, this match is being played simultaneously with the game between France and Sweden. Sweden having been already eliminated. And so this final game of Group D, and of course the final games of this group phase, underway between Ukraine and England here in the magnificent Donbass Arena in Donetsk. And following the kick-off, Ukraine have just had the ball, and now they skim it down that right-hand side. Fuseyev is very dangerous, the fullback, by the way, when he can get forward, and he's galloped inside the England half already, and they'll have to be very careful whenever he's around. Yarmolenko now for Ukraine, up to the edge of the area, a little flick from Milevski, and Lescott decides safety first is the best option and puts it away before Devic and those orange boots can threaten. But already we've seen Fuseyev bombing down that right-hand side. Throw into Ukraine, into Milevski. I don't think England players had the ball yet. The ball is with Garmash, and now to the fullback Selin down this near side. Confident possession early on here from Ukraine. Konoplyanka then tries to be a hero and hits it well wide, and that's a goal kick. And the first England player to get a touch of the ball will be goalkeeper Joe Hart.
That's a promising start from Ukraine, haven't they? They look confident. They're pushing the ball around. I think he's gone for a younger team tonight. With Shevchenko and them out, they're going to get a lot of work rate. They know they've got to win the game, mate, but they've started very bright, Ukraine.
Alan Green monitoring the events between France and Sweden in Kiev, and I understand that game has started slightly later than this one, but they will surely have to coordinate things so that the second half start at the same time. It's the whole point of the exercise. Ball is out of play. So far England very much on the defensive here. Throw into Ukraine. Rooney looking for his first touch as Gerrard stabs the ball into the Ukraine half. Danny Welbeck doesn't get off the ground. Gerrard now wins a header, and now Scott Parker hits it into the central defence from Ukraine, and it's laid back by Kasharidi, and Piatov will have his first touch in the Ukraine. Terrible clearance almost there by Piatov, but England forced to go deep now to get it back again. Wasn't very confident clearance that from Piatov, who's taken over from the injured Shevkovsky in the Ukraine goal. And now Lescott in the left-back position for England. England haven't settled down yet here in this environment, and the ball is out of play. England don't have to go necessarily chasing the game, but they mustn't try and shut up shop from the start. They have to be positive here.
Well, they've got to remember, when they get the ball, play. I saw this in the first couple of friendlies, and even against Belgium at Wembley. When they had the ball, they were all in zones. There was no movement. They were rigid, and they kept giving the ball back.
Now Rooney's first touch onto his Manchester United teammate Danny Welbeck. The three Manchester United forwards, of course, Young, Welbeck and Rooney, and Ukraine hammer it straight back into the England half, and Joe Hart's there. Much has been made of the fact that England lost to Ukraine under Fabio Capello in Dnipro, but that game was distorted really because the goalkeeper Green was sent off. England were down to 10 men for long periods in that match. Ball is out of play. England haven't settled down at all yet.
I've got to say, Ukraine's got it right. Look, you press that England team, they give you the ball back.
And breaking forward there just for a moment was Devic, and Scott Parker mopping up. We don't know whether Shevchenko's fit enough to play any part this evening. He did a bit of a warm-up, and England just haven't really put two passes together yet. Ball is in Ukraine territory, and it's Yarmolenko, tall, confident player over on the far side, plays the ball. They're just zipping it around at the moment, Ukraine. They're not hurting England, but they're getting all the early possession, and they're very much settling down here. The ball is with the fullback Selim. Back again to Rakitsky, one of the home players. The two home players are the goalkeeper, Piatov and Rakitsky. And that's a long one to the far side of the field, and that man is there down that right-hand side, Husiev, and England haven't picked him up. Ashley Young was a bit slow to react. Yarmolenko now, turning away from Parker. Timoshuk now, back to Yarmolenko. England not really dealing with those runs from Husiev early on, and they know all about him. As Ukraine keep the ball back inside their own half, they avoid the goalkeeper, and they find Rakitsky at the back, and they come forward once more. England having to just get behind the ball early on. They haven't threaded anything together yet at all in an attacking sense. Ukraine and the fans, of course, will get more and more encouraged. Long one from Rakitsky. Milevsky wasn't picked up. Milevsky leading the line here, finding Konoplyanka, who skips in from this near touchline, runs square, and then finds Yarmolenko. This is a good, confident start from Ukraine, who, of course, have to win the game. Garmash, early signs here not too encouraging from England. Konoplyanka again. Husiev's waiting down that right-hand side. It goes instead to Devic, and now Husiev. I mean, he's supposed to be playing right back, but he's very much their right winger, and the ball is out of play, and it's a frustrating start for England.
But they're not troubling the goal yet, are they? They're on a lot of possession, and they're getting up to the final third without any success. So far, you want England to get on the ball a bit more and enjoy it, and start looking for it. Players looking for it in a white shirt.
Obviously, we'll keep you in touch with France and Sweden, and England really looking to get any kind of ball here, any kind of possession, as Welbeck fouls Rakitsky as he goes forward. And at the moment, well, the England game is running about 45 seconds, I think, ahead of the French game. But of course, when you get injuries and things, all that can change. Ball now again, and they're just not picking this man up at all. Husiev down the right. Infield to Yarmolenko. Skips away from Parker. In goes Gerrard. England looking to put together some passes, and now Rooney crosses the halfway line. Rooney's got Young on his outside. Rooney goes past Garmash, and still Rooney, then he's tackled. But he's made a good, positive run there, deep into the Ukraine half, and he's won England a throw-in, and they throw the ball back to Parker. Gerrard now joining in, and suddenly we get some moments from England, and then a loose one from Young. Not a very good first touch at all from him, means that Scott Parker has to give it back to goalkeeper Joe Hart once more. Very cagey opening here from England. Now Rooney jumping with Timoshuk. Both players miss it, and Rakitsky half thought about the back pass, hammers it back into the England half. Terry has to be careful here and decides to take absolutely no chances at all. Smashes it towards us for a throw-in.
Well, we haven't settled England. You've got to say they're just basically containing it at the minute. As I said, you know, it's all right saying they need a draw making up, but you've got to play. When you get the ball, you've got to play.
Garmash tries a shot, and it's just over. I think Joe Hart had it covered all the way as it sails into those yellow shirts behind his goal. So 6.5 minutes gone on 5 Live. Out comes Gary Neville for the first time. Ukraine 0, England 0. And the first shot at goal there came from the home side and from Garmash, who's playing in midfield tonight. Goal kick for England. The England fans, so outnumbered of course, doing their best away to our right. The Ukraine fans getting more and more encouraged as Milner heads the ball in field. Rooney doesn't control it. Garmash is there, and then Garmash slips, but the referee, Victor Kasai, gives a free kick to Ukraine for the challenge, and it's quickly taken, and it's with Devic now just inside the England half. Milner did well to hold him up. Ball back to Selin, and now Rakitsky, slow at the back from Ukraine, then it's threaded long and forward. Ashley Cole's header away. Ashley Young's not really helping out down that left-hand side. He just puts it straight back to Ukraine once more, and it's Timoshuk. Timoshuk, all Ukraine possession. Yarmolenko in field. Yarmolenko again, spraying the ball around nicely. Rakitsky, just an ominous start here from England. They haven't started well, as Konoplyanka now eventually has possession. Still Selin. England trying to pressurise and push Ukraine back, so they do go back inside their own half, but they're having much more of the ball here. Ball played in now to Devic. Devic down the centre. Yarmolenko's unmarked. In goes John Terry, and John Terry just managed to do enough there, and then he hit it far too quickly out of defence and hits it straight back to Ukraine, and it's a nervous start from England.
Well, Yarmolenko comes in from that right hand side inside Ashley Cole and Lescott, and just his first touch let him down because he was in. I've got to say I've been very impressed with Rakitsky at the back on the ball now. Very impressed.
John Terry's clearance was very hurried, and all the nice touches so far are coming early on here from Ukraine. Remember, they have to win the game. England look just a little bit affected by it here, as Ukraine have the possession. The man that Chris Waddle was talking about, Rakitsky, that's another long one to this near side. Konoplyanka heads it in field. Johnson hasn't got it away, just manages to get a foot in, but it comes back again to Selin, and the home side are the likelier team now. Konoplyanka for Ukraine, being forced to go square from Steven Gerrard. Still Konoplyanka, now Timoshuk, and it's on to Husiev down the right. Early ball in field, flicked on to Milevski. England defender in the way. England now look to counter-attack. Gerrard hits a long one downfield. There's only Danny Welbeck there. Welbeck comes in front of the defender, then Rooney misjudges it. Doesn't control it. Welbeck had done well there for him. Poor pass from Ukraine, and it's now Milner and Johnson in front of us down the England right. Doesn't work though, and it's gone back to Joe Hart. And let's hear from John Southall on the early proceedings between France and Sweden. John.
Well, it's 0-0, Mike. I make it we're about 35 seconds, 40 seconds behind you. Sweden have started quite promisingly. 2 chances, both from crosses from the left. Toivonen headed wide, and Seb Larsson straight at Loris in the French goal. 1 chance for France. Ribéry with a snapshot, well saved by Isaacson. Sweden 0, France 0.
Thank you. Out comes Oleg Blokin, great player of course for Ukraine. The coach will be a reason to be happy so far. The crowd just booing because England have the ball. They haven't had much of it at all since we started. And of course, the longer it goes like this, the Ukraine fans will feel more and more confident and encouraged. And England, you can just see what they're trying to do here. They're just trying to get some possession and just trying to play their way back into this game. The ball is with Parker.
That's okay. Yeah. Keep the ball. Listen, it's ticking the clock down. Keep the ball. Get a feel of it. They're having a little rest now. Ukraine have put a lot of effort in so far.
We'll get a word from Graham Taylor in a moment. We've played 10 minutes of the first half. We've seen nothing yet from England from an attacking point of view. Now it's Gerrard. England trying to feel their way into this game. Gerrard has to hold. Finds Parker on his left-hand side. Ukraine push right up. Gerrard once more. Ashley Cole is screaming for it over on the far side. Gerrard sees him, and it could turn out to be a great ball. It was. Cole controls it. This is suddenly better from England. Cole into Rooney in this deeper position. Ashley Cole had gone down after that. Young finds Rooney. Rooney gives the ball away. Wins it back again though for England. Hasn't really settled down yet, Rooney. Young to Parker. Gerrard's available. Parker now. Little flick from Rooney. And then chance for Ashley Cole to get one in. He got it straight at the goalkeeper at the near post. But that's certainly, well, by far, England's best moment.
Most definitely. Some passes. They got up there. Got Ashley Cole in a great position. He didn't have a glance before he crossed it for me, mate. If he just waited that little bit longer, there was white shirts arriving. He hit it too early, too close to keeper.
Interesting role reversal at the moment. Ashley Young's playing at left back and Ashley Cole on the left wing. Cole is ahead of Young, and now Cole has it, and Young has gone forward now. Little bit better now from England, passing and moving. Young for England. Still Young. Tackle though. Took on too many defenders. Ukraine looking to clear. England need to keep on pressing here. Ukraine with Garmash back to his goalkeeper. So Graham Taylor, how do you read it so far here?
Well, I have to say, what an impressive start by Ukraine. yes, we can look at England, but I thought Ukraine played very, very well. They have the ball now and they're attacking again. England's just had that one period of possession. Other than that, it's been all Ukraine.
Yeah, there's some worrying moments down there for England fans as Konoplyanka now finds the fullback Celine. Celine's ball into the penalty area. Terry's missed it, and the shot is driven in, and it was Devic in the end. England managed to get a block. There was some uncertain defending, and now Ashley Young is sent crashing by Timashuk. Back to John Southall for the France-Sweden game.
Still 0-0, Mike, but Sweden should be ahead. Really poor defending by Mexes. Inexplicably let in Toivonen. He rounded the goalkeeper. He pushed it too far, tight angle, and hit the post. Should have scored. Still 0-0.
Well, England are also living dangerously here. John Terry failed to cut that ball out. England managed to get some blocks in. It's still 0-0 between Ukraine and England, but Ukraine have been the better team. Parker now inside the centre circle. England just slowing things down here. Parker once more. Ashley Cole again is making himself available down that left-hand side. He's still ahead of Young. It's Gerrard taking the ball into the Ukraine half and then lifting it into Rooney. Rooney trying to control it, knocks it back to the halfway line. And Parker back again to Rooney, hungry to get the ball back again. Rooney inside the centre circle, finds Johnson down the England right-hand side. Chance for Johnson to take on the fullback. Early ball in towards Rooney, too high for Rooney. England's first corner though off the defender.
Well, that's the first time, well, actually Cole, I would say 5 minutes ago, got on that left without any quality. Glenn Johnson, first time we've seen him involved going forward. Good ball to the far post, just a little bit too high for Rooney. Defender takes no risk, puts it away for a corner.
And Gerrard will take it, and that's where all the England fans are. Around the corner flag over on the far side. This is the England left. Young is at the near post. Rooney's going to run in with this Gerrard corner. Gerrard's corner kick for England. Goalkeeper flapped at it, and Konoplyanka over his shoulder clears. Milevsky holds it nicely, and then here come Ukraine on a break. Konoplyanka down the left-hand side. Ball punted forward down that right-hand side, and almost a great ball as well that was for Yarmolenko. Almost a great counter-attack. It's out of play for an England throw-in. It's quite a bit for Roy Hodgson to think about here, though. Throw into England. Ashley Cole to take it. 0-0 here. 0-0 between France and Sweden, where Sweden apparently should have scored early on. The most dangerous moments in this game have come from Ukraine, although Joe Hart hasn't had to make a save yet. Throw to England, just taking their time, trying to produce some football which might subdue the noise here, the noise level of the Ukraine fans. Ukraine have it once more in midfield, and it's Garmash. Garmash lays it left-hand side to Celine. Celine cuts the ball back into, and Rakitsky then with a poor shot in the end, the defender. He's been measuring most of his passes right, but that's airborne and it's a goal kick.
Spot on. His distribution's been top draw, hasn't it? Whether it's been 10 yards or 45, 50 yards, but that was a little bit ambitious from where he shot.
Looking very pensive at the moment, the England manager, alongside Ray Lewington down on the bench. And he would have wanted his team to start a little sharper than this, as Joe Hart clears. Ukraine 0, England 0 here in Donetsk. And Rooney jumping. The ball should be cleared here at the back by Ukraine, and then in the end it's Garmash striking it into the penalty area for Piatov to clear. Comes out of the penalty area, then hits a high one towards Yarmolenko. Yarmolenko is beaten well in the air by Lescott. Timashuk, with great experience, plays a ball across the field, and it's this left-sided player Konoplyanka cutting in field. There's plenty of movement around him. It's on the halfway line now with Rakitsky and now Celine. All the England players are inside their own half as Celine dips the ball in. Terry stretched, and in the end it's trundled its way through to goalkeeper Hart. It was a dangerous ball in there from the left-hand side. Hart has it for England.
That was an important touch by John Terry. Just bent it round him, just got it with his left foot, just his toe, gets it through to Joe Hart. But again, no pressure on the ball.
Ukraine 0, England 0 on 5 Live as Milner heads the ball on towards Rooney, who hasn't got into the game yet. And Garmash now, another one of those big diagonals down the right-hand side, looking for either Yarmolenko or Husiev. And Husiev saying, why not me? I was your best option there. And he didn't find him. He overhit the pass. But you can see that's a tactic, isn't it, here? Using those players down the
Definitely.
right.
He takes it well. Yarmolenko comes inside, except goes running Ashley Young back, who doesn't enjoy the defensive side.
Well, England taking plenty of time over this clearance. There's a long way to go in this game. There's no way they can hang on to this 0-0 to take them into the quarter-finals. Ukraine looking lively. The ball is not kept in, though, by the full-back. England have a throw-in. So from that break, can they do something here on 5 Live. It's Ukraine 0, England 0, France 0, Sweden 0. And Gerrard, and we can just hear the England fans for the first time over the Ukraine fans as England look for Rooney. He'll put pressure on the defender Rakitsky. Piatov stabs it away. In goes John Terry up against Devic. Gerrard in midfield. This is better from England, knocking the ball around. Rooney got 3 Ukraine players with him. Timoshuk was there, and here comes the break. Devic now to Timoshuk. Yarmolenko available down the right hand side. Husiev's there. Ashley Young should cut this out, but he hasn't, and he should have done. And Husiev now plays it right across the field. It's a lovely first touch from Konoplyanka. Ashley Young should have cut that out. Konoplyanka trying to set up an angle. Shot driven in. Hit an England player. Timoshuk now over the bar.
Well, Konoplyanka for me has been the problem. He's getting a lot of ball at his feet. He's all right footed really. He keeps coming inside Glenn Johnson. As Milner was trying to help him out there, it was a terrific shot. I think that would have caused Joe Hart problems. John Terry gets his body in the way.
Well, it's exactly why Milner had to start the game tonight with Johnson, the presence of Konoplyanka. In rugby union, England beat the South African Barbarians 57-31. Here in Donetsk, Ukraine 0, England 0 in these final games, of course, of the group stage in Euro 2012. And Ukraine have been the better team. England really haven't got into this game at all yet. Garmash on the halfway line. And the longer it goes, Ukraine will build more and more confidence in the match. Here comes Rakitsky once more with a good pass for Timoshuk. The ball rears up, hits him in the chest, and Timoshuk now finds Husiev down the right-hand side, looking for a 1-2 with Yarmolenko. Yarmolenko on that occasion couldn't go forward, but Ukraine keep the ball back inside their half once more. Another one from Rakitsky, looking to tease England down this near side. Johnson having problems with Konoplyanka, but this time the ball was slightly overhit, and so England have a throw-in. Johnson to take it, 18.5 minutes gone, and England yet to really test the Ukraine keeper. Welbeck heads the ball on towards Rooney. Rooney putting pressure on Kasharidi, who just manages to get enough on the ball to send it back to the penalty area away to our right, where Piatov clears. Piatov's ball to the tall Yarmolenko. It'll be hard for Ashley Cole to win that in the air, and Yarmolenko has actually lifted it out of play for an England throw-in.
I haven't worked out yet why Rakitsky keeps pinging these balls everywhere around the park, and they've never said to Welbeck when he gets it, don't let him get on the ball. Let the other centre-half have it. He hasn't got the vision or the technique to spray it around. Really should be stopping his distribution.
Much more effective, though, in the wide positions, Ukraine, so far in this game than England. Again, Ashley Young is struggling really to make a big contribution. England have lost the ball again. And now Celine. England playing a dangerous game here. Timoshuk turns, and there's no pressure on him really from Steven Gerrard. Ukraine keep it. And now Kasharidi once more. Ukraine looking for an opening here. Still 0-0. Ball played in now to Milevsky, who's come a little deeper and found Konoplyanka. Konoplyanka carrying the ball to this near side. And now Devic in field. And Garmash, that's a lovely touch from him to Devic. Devic now sends the ball to the right hand side. And there's Husiev again. Across comes Ashley Cole. Ball played in the area, and Terry takes responsibility and heads it powerfully out down that far side of the field. Ukraine 0, England 0. And let's get away from Graham Taylor.
Yeah, well, I mean, Ukraine have really dominated this game. I've been so impressed with them. You know, we may turn around and say England are so poor. I think Ukraine are playing some of the best football I've seen. And England have got their work cut out here to get back into the game and make their presence felt.
Just over 20 minutes gone, and Ashley Cole has to be careful here in the penalty area with Yarmolenko threatening. And he manages to get there first and sends the ball into the Ukraine fans, and the throw-in's been taken quickly. Yarmolenko, who's quite an imposing figure down that right-hand side. Still Yarmolenko. England managed to nudge it away from the penalty area, and the whistle's gone, I think. We've got 2 balls on the pitch at the moment. Sometimes they're just a little bit keen to return balls, and it is going to be a bounce of the ball, I think. I have no idea why, but there will be a restart here with a bounce of the ball, probably because we have the 2 balls on the field, and Joe Hart is allowed to just clear it into the Ukraine half. But Roy Hodgson will be disappointed, really, that so far, considering he's got 3 players from one club in attack, Young, Welbeck and Rooney, they haven't managed to find any kind of fluency early on here at all. Ukraine 0, England 0. Still 0-0 between France and Sweden. This time Ukraine give the ball away. Oh, and Young's completely messed up there. And the shot is driven in and just over the bar from Husiev. That was another mistake by Ashley Young, who just seems to be intimidated slightly by the atmosphere down there. He just hasn't played with his normal confidence. So let's get more news from the France-Sweden game from John Southall.
It's Sweden 0, France 0, but Sweden are the better side. They're pressing France, they're creating chances, they're cheered on by 18,000 fans, but at the moment, still Sweden 0, France 0.
Here Gary Neville is screaming instructions to the England players. We're at the halfway point of the first half, which has been very disappointing so far for England. And here's Alan Green.
Well, I'm just thinking, Mike, that it's as well that the ageing striker Shevchenko isn't playing, because the only doubt I have about Ukraine's performance at the moment is they don't properly threaten Joe Hart's goal, apart from that shot from Hussev. But England have not started this at all well. Glenn Johnson, though, skips over the halfway line. He's got Milner to his right, and he couldn't pick out Milner, but he was fouled by Rakitsky, and it's a free kick to England. So Steven Gerrard, with his delivery, has laid on two fantastic goals in Euro 2012. First of all for Lescott, then for Carroll. Can he make it a treble here? The free kick is 10 yards in from the right touchline. Lescott's gone up, Terry's gone up. There's no Carroll, of course, but we've got Welbeck and Rooney and Ashley Young inside the Ukraine penalty area. Gerrard from the right, 23 minutes gone here in the nets. Plays it, it's a great free kick, and the goalkeeper was all over the place. He was dazzled by the run of Rooney, and it came off a defender and goes behind for a corner. Very, very close there. Terrific delivery from the England skipper, Steven Gerrard, who rightly gets the applause from the England fans as he rushes to take this corner on the far side.
Oh, that was a fantastic delivery. We saw that in the first game for Lescott. Goalkeeper didn't know where it was going to pitch, gets it away for a corner.
Other opportunity, this time from the left side for Steven Gerrard. Lescott and Terry still inside the penalty area. Defender with his arms around Rooney. It's headed on by Terry, but it should be cutting out Pleanka, who rushes clear. Goodness, he's played well in the opening 24 minutes. He's already run to the halfway line. It's a good counter-attack by Ukraine. The pass to the far side in Yarmolenko. Hussev on the overlap. Ignored by Yarmolenko. Yarmolenko into Garmash now. 25 yards, 30 yards from goal perhaps. Stands on it for the moment, on the ball. Konoplyanka chips it forward. Little nudge by Terry on Yarmolenko. That was clever from their former captain. And then Hart throws out to the current captain, Steven Gerrard. On to Ashley Young on the far side of the field. Young's done next to nothing apart from contribute appallingly defensively. Need to do an awful lot better than that. We've had no attempts by England on goal. 7 attempts from Ukraine. 2 of them on target. England have the ball on the far side of the field. The England left. 25 minutes gone here in the Donbass arena. Now, was he fouled there? I think he was.
Well,
Ashley Young.
I think he played the ball first, I've got to say, and then Ashley Young catches his foot after, and you can see Timmy why he's arguing about. We can see the benefit. Oh, well, he doesn't even touch him. He actually catches his hand.
Free kick to England from the left, and once more we look to the captain, Gerrard. Steps back a couple of yards, almost standing on the touchline now. Lescott's up inside the penalty, an obvious target, played in towards Lescott, headed on by Welbeck, and then headed away to safety by Ukraine. On this near side of the field, Milner got to the ball first. I thought there was a little touch there for the defender, but no, and then there was an assistant referee close by, says there was no infringement, and it's merely a goal kick to Ukraine. England 0, Ukraine 0. 26 minutes gone here on 5 Live on the BBC, and in Kiev it's still France 0, Sweden 0, but John Southall, our reporter, is saying that the Swedes are the better side.
Well, obviously, at the minute, as you say, England's not threatening the goal, are they? And Ukraine, for me, again, getting to the final third, the 2 Wade men and the fullbacks joining well. But unfortunately, Milevsky up front's not really got the ball in that box where you want it for him, where he can try and score. It's England defensively have done all right.
Just remember the group situation. Sweden are definitely going home. They cannot qualify. France and England joint top on 4 points. and Ukraine have 3. England on the attack now. Welbeck just inside the Ukraine penalty area. Plays it wide to Milner. Milner crosses early and over hits the ball toward the far side. That was poor from James Milner. And though defensively he's done really well, Milner, in that midfield role, I'm afraid the standard of his crossing in Euro 2012 has left a lot to be desired. Ukraine's clearance, though, ran straight to Ashley Cole. Gerrard is wide down the left side for the moment. Gerrard back to Rooney. We are seeing movement from Rooney, and that's great because it helps the team overall. Ashley Cole again. Back to Rooney, inside left channel for him. To Scott Parker. And now Glenn Johnson. Arguably this is England's best spell in the game. It took them a long while to waken up. Now Terry. Terry glides the ball towards Ashley Young. Great pass from Terry. Young's control was excellent. Crosses in. Rooney heads wide. He should have headed in.
Well, the man you probably wanted to fall through the chance, and that is a glorious chance. First we saw Ashley Young, really. Great ball by John Terry. Diagonal out Ashley Young. Just onside. Gets it out of his feet. Right foot. Pace. Rooney's run to the far post. Loses his marker. Kid skating really. He's just got to hit the target, and that's 1-0 England.
It's a bad miss, actually. A really bad miss. I mean, it was worse than a glancing header. Got it all wrong, Wayne Rooney. So it's still England 0, Ukraine 0. Welbeck chases forward. It should be cleared easily by Rakitsky, and is towards this near side. I think it came off Glenn Johnson's boot last, so it's going to be a throw into Ukraine on the halfway line. Ukraine, much the better of the sides in the opening 23-24 minutes. England, a fraction the better side the last couple of minutes, but that's great control by Devic down the left side. Milewski waits around the edge of the penalty area. Back it goes to Garmash, to Selling, the left fullback, onto Devic once more. The pass back to his fullback was a little under hit. Selling did well, and then he couldn't find Konoplyanka, and it's out of play for a throw in to England. Their movement's much better than ours.
Well, I know what you're saying, Alan, and if you look, they've got their 2 wide men a lot higher up the field. If you look where they are now, even they stay high most of the time. They'll jog back into a certain area, but they stay high. I know we talk about Ashley Young, but he's not a fullback.
A draw is enough for England, but I tell you this, I don't want to describe the last 15 minutes of this game at 0-0. I think that would be a bit jittery. We haven't had a 0-0 in the tournament so far. The goalkeeper, Piatov, for Ukraine, just taps it out, and Kacheridi slips it away to the far side. Timoshuk, for a large part of the game, is operating at right back, allowing Husev to play like a right winger. Here's Kacheridi again, who, as you rightly identified, Chris, just doesn't have the range of distribution that this man has. Rakitsky to Garmash, onto Rakitsky again, still inside the Ukraine half. Ukraine all in blue with yellow flashes. England all white tonight. That's a good ball forward. Milewski takes it up. Milewski slides it on, edge of the penalty. Here's a chance. Shot! Hart saves.
Yarmolenko on his left foot comes inside. Cole doesn't get a lot of power. It's a comfortable save, but again a wonderful build-up play by Ukraine. Just cuts inside. He favours his left foot most of the time. Doesn't get enough power to be the quality of Joe Hart as a goalkeeper.
Ashley Young brought down, went down easily. It's a free kick, and we played half an hour of nervous minutes. England 0, Ukraine 0 in Donetsk. If England finished runners-up to France in the group, and that's how it looks at the moment, the quarter-final would be here against Spain. And if all our dreams come true and we manage to beat the Spanish, we'd be here too for the semi-final. So you're setting up camp, aren't you, Chris?
Just thought I'd be sleeping bag today.
Here's John Terry. Terry to Rooney. Terry moves over the halfway line. The pass goes back to Scott Parker, and I think Terry will retreat. Rooney then, he held off his body strength. Got to the ball ahead of Garmash, and it's with Parker again. Back to Gerrard. Gerrard swings the ball towards the far side. Accurately played to Ashley Young. Good control of the United player's chest. And now he's approaching the penalty area. He shoots, it takes a deflection and looks behind for a corner to England.
It's Rakitsky again in the way. This time heads it away. But listen, England carry a threat. Gerrard, some of his distribution's been fantastic. But Rooney should have took the lead, shouldn't he? Let's be honest.
Definitely. I think that was goes down as a bad miss for Wayne Rooney. Gerrard with a corner from the right. 31 minutes played here in Donetsk. Gerrard, deep chance for Terry, and Terry jumped too early. He was on the way down when he headed the ball, and it's over the crossbar for a goal kick.
Well, again, set pieces, always a threat. Free header, as you say. It was just maybe a little bit too high. Where they jumped early on, it was a little bit too high for him, but it was a free header from 8 yards. And we've just seen the Rooney chance again, and really
I thought that was as good a chance for Terry, actually, given his prowess in the air. Graham Taylor, are you feeling any better a few yards to our right?
No, I mean, you have to give credit to this Ukrainian side. I think they have played very, very well. And England are second best, and they've got to hold on. There's no doubt about it. They've got to try to get through this period and then hopefully come more and more into the game. Having said that, England have had the better chances for all the play that Ukraine have had.
Absolutely right, Graham. Rooney and Terry with two heading opportunities. Garmash, though, to Yarmolenko, and on to Husev down the far side of the field. He's like a right winger. Into Yarmolenko again, into the penalty area. Devic, can he pull the ball back? Find a colleague? No, he can't. And it's headed away by Ashley Cole. Away to comparative safety in the far side with Wayne Rooney, and then his pass into Ashley Young, immediately hooked out of play. Young has been awful.
I think they've got 3 or 4 clever players, Ukraine. Really clever players, very dangerous, good technique, can change direction, can beat a man. Say you're passing this guy on the ball now, he's got a wonderful pass on him.
Rakitsky, one of the two central defenders for Ukraine, the host nation here in the Donbass arena. No Shevchenko in the starting lineup, not fit enough to start, but I'd be worried about him coming on for the last 20 minutes, because there is a guy who does still know how to find the net. Rakitsky, good ball in there, well controlled by Milevsky on his chest. Then it goes back into the centre circle, and Kacheridi, and flicked on by Milevsky again to the far side. Husev, Yarmolenko leaves it. Husev chases after it. The pressure is on Ashley Young. Don't do anything silly, Ashley. Ashley close to his own corner fly. Almost allowed the ball to go behind for a corner, but it's out for a throw-in.
I know where people come from. They'll be saying, why is he playing Ashley Young? Listen, he's not a left back, and he's playing left back tonight. He's put one great ball in. He's been on the final third 3 times. He's been at left back more.
Rakitsky, the danger man from the back for Ukraine. Onto Konoflianka, down the left side, into Milevsky, midway inside the England half. Konoflianka again. Flag, I think, had it reached its target, Yarmolenko would have been offside, but it's cleared by England. Welbeck fouled as he tried to hold the ball up, and it's a free kick to England on the edge of the centre circle. What news in Kiev, John Southall?
Well, it's still Sweden 0, France 0, but France haven't turned up yet, Alan. 2 good chances, both have gone to Sweden and both have gone to Toivonen. A header that went wide, and then when he rounded the goalkeeper and hit the post. Sweden 0, France yet to wake up 0.
And it's still 0-0 here in Donetsk. John Terry for England to Glenn Johnson, near side of the field, in towards Wayne Rooney, but it was a poor pass by Johnson, and Ukraine have the ball again with Garmash. Garmash then flicks it high, looking for Devic. Lescott allowed the ball to bounce. I think maybe he got a shout from Joe Hart. Hart gets to the ball first and throws it out quickly to Ashley Young on the far side of the field. Now let's have some of what you're good at, Ashley. Ashley just steps inside Timoshuk, plays the ball back to Gerrard, and now Parker in the centre circle. Welbeck, Gerrard again, Cole's down the left side. Parker and Gerrard exchange passes. Gerrard looking further forward, takes a lovely pass to Ashley Cole down the left side. Instant control from the fullback onto Welbeck, promising for England. Low cross in, half cleared. Oh, it is cleared properly now to Timoshuk, and Ukraine survived that little scare.
Well, we've got Ashley Young in that final third. He's put some decent deliveries in, Alan, but as I say, people are judging him on his defensive qualities, and that's not why he's in the team for me.
10 minutes to go to half time. 0-0, England-Ukraine. Timoshuk, the captain tonight in the absence of Shevchenko. Left for Yarmolenko. Yarmolenko into Garmash. Garmash, 35 yards from goal. He shoots from ridiculous range, and it's wide, and that's like a pass back.
Well, a lot of the Ukrainian players are questioning Garmash's decisions. He's done some stupid passes, and there, I don't know what he was trying to achieve from that shot of 35 yards.
We're just seeing that England attempt that Ashley Young played the ball in. It evaded both Milner and Welbeck. And we have had the two-headed opportunities, particularly for Rooney and Terry also. It's 0-0, which would be enough, but it'll be a nervy night in Donetsk if it stays this way. England have a throw-in down this near side of the field, midway inside the Ukraine half. Milner's there, but no doubt he'll leave Glenn Johnson to take it. England substitutes warming up. Defoe, Walcott, Henderson. Johnson throws into the penalty area, comfortably headed out of play. I think there was a foul actually there by Welbeck. I think he got away with it. There's a push on Cacciariti. Johnson a little bit further forward to take another throw in. This time it's a shorter throw to Milner. Milner can't create the room for the cross, but wins another throw in. Off the left full-back Silling. Johnson again to Milner. Back to Johnson. Johnson just showed far too much of the ball. It's cleared and then it's given away. John Terry with a low cross in. Not the greatest distribution from Terry. And here's Milewski. That was a dive by Milewski. And look at blocking. Going absolutely berserk in the technical area. I think that was at his own player.
Davic. He's saying he's not getting high enough up the field or whatever. He made his point anyway.
And the free kick is taken. Konoplyanka just taps the ball to the left full-back. Silling. And back to Rakitsky. Ukraine still have had the better of the game, but arguably England have had the better chances. It's back to the goalkeeper of Shakhtar Donetsk. This is his home stadium. Piatov to Rakitsky. There's another Shakhtar player. Lucky players to be playing in a stadium as emotional as this. Hooked upfield. Lescott heads it away. Finds Gerrard. Gerrard looking for the run of Ashley Young. It's a good ball forward. The defender has to be careful, and the defender is careful. That's Cacciariti. Cacciariti plays it back now to Piatov, and no nonsense from the goalkeeper, clearing up to the halfway line. The dreaded Mexican wave has broken out. Are they really not interested in the game?
I think it looks good.
With all that's at stake?
I think it looks good in a stadium like this.
No, it doesn't. Ban them. Anyway, Garmash forward now to Milewski. Milewski can't find the intended target, and it's cleared by Gerrard to Welbeck on the far side of the field. He's 20 yards short of the halfway line, but he does well. He finds Rooney. Good run by Milner down the right side. Ashley Young through the middle. Welbeck now joins him. Rooney's up there in attendance too. The pass goes backwards initially to Gerrard. Into Parker. 6 minutes to go to half time. England 0, Ukraine 0 here on 5 Live. Still 0-0 in Kiev between France and Sweden at the moment. France would top the group. England would be second. And England would then play Spain here in Donetsk. It's Ashley Cole on the far side. 97th appearance for his country tonight. Fantastic record. To Wayne Rooney, his first appearance in Euro 2012 after the suspension. Parker, back to John Terry. And John Terry just short of the halfway line. Digs in the direction of Glenn Johnson. Glenn Johnson, good control. Brings the ball under control. Milner's available down the right side. He's looking inside there to Welbeck. Welbeck couldn't pick up the pass. Maybe it wasn't the greatest ball. Struck by Glenn Johnson. And here's Timoshuk for Ukraine. Good run on the far side by Devic. And Timoshuk tries to pick him out. Lescott gets across. Heads it away. And he finds Ashley Young. On to Rooney. Oh, Rooney's given it away. Ukraine have the ball again. Husev running forward and then showed far too much of it to Ashley Young. Ashley Young takes it up for England. Rooney's down the left side. Play to Rooney. Welbeck running through the middle into the penalty. Gerrard joltedly deep, unmarked, edge of the penalty area. The cross looking for Welbeck, not the right option. Headed away by Ukraine. Parker shoots. It dips, but it's well wide of goal.
Well, coming to that spell, there's a lot of sloppy play going around at the minute. People giving the ball away cheaply, and Oleg blocking. Doing his best impression of Norm Wisdom in that dugout so far.
He's a fierce guy. I wouldn't argue with him. I watched one of his press conferences, knowing absolutely nothing that was being said, but by goodness did he show his contempt for the media. Kept looking at his watch, looking at the roof of the building as if, what am I doing here? Hardly diplomatic. Ball is with his team though, with Garmash on the halfway line to Konoplyanka down the left side. Running at Milner, inside of Milner. He likes to be on his right foot, the winger. And then he wants support from Selly, the left fullback. Passes back to the fullback, into Konoplyanka again. Konoplyanka, 25 yards out from England's goal. But the movement is slow at the moment from Ukraine. They're not quite as bright as they were at the start of the game, certainly in the opening 20 minutes. Timoshuk, the captain, to Yarmolenko on the far side of the field. In now, and Garmash exchanges passes with Malevsky. Malevsky taps it to the dangerous Husev down the right side onto Garmash, edge of the England penalty area on the right. Husev again trying to get the cross in, hits Lescott, and then was that a foul challenge? No, it wasn't a foul challenge. Ukraine won the ball back fairly according to the official. Here's an opportunity. Yarmolenko teasing the defender one way then the other into the penalty area, still going. Where's he going? Gets a corner.
He's got some talent though. He's fine to shoot, doesn't he? Gets on that left foot and you all think he's going to shoot, goes back onto his right, back onto his left again, and does it again. Does it about 3 times, gets away with it. And
this isn't the
scrambling defending. Lescott just kicks it off his toe.
This isn't the Ukraine that we saw against the French.
No, because they
didn't turn up.
Because they had 3 points in French had won, so they thought play a cagey game, get 4 points.
Less than 3 minutes to go to half time here in Five Live. Such noise inside the arena. The corner was played in weakly towards the near post, and I think it's a goal kick. They're complaining, at least Devic is certainly complaining to the assistant there, and the Hungarian referee Victor Kasai is just rushing across the town to get out of the way.
It was a wasted corner. Wasted corner, wasn't it though?
Yes.
You got the crowd going after that little run. Right.
I was very worried, when Scott Parker went down in the penalty area with Yarmolenko. I had a half suspicion Parker was going to handle the ball. He was very close to it. In fact, he may actually have put his hand on the ball. Or maybe the ball brushed over it. Either way, dodgy. Don't do it. 43 minutes played here in Donetsk. England 0, Ukraine 0. In Kiev, it's France 0, Sweden 0. At the moment, France will win the group. England will finish runners-up. But this is not a convincing performance by England. Gerrard gets the pass back to Joe Hart, who lashes it upfield, and it's a simple header away by Yakitsky. Do you think Rooney is in the game?
I don't think England are. I think Gerrard's had some nice passes and Gerrard's played some nice stuff. I think his form's been good all tournament, but overall, you've got to say we're lacking ideas. We're very rigid. There's not a lot of movement. We can't look after the ball again. Simple as that. But I think Ukraine's played very well.
That's a criticism I never make of Roy Hodgson. Rigid? I say he's rigid selections all the time. There's not enough fluidity. 0-0 will be enough, and we'll take it. But playing like this, beyond the quarterfinals, not much chance. Rakitsky on the ball, and they don't want him to be on the ball. That's another lovely pass to Konoplyanka over the halfway line. Gerrard tracking back, gets the tackle, and ball squirts out of play off Glenn Johnson. I think it's going to be a throw into Ukraine, level over the edge of the England penalty inside the final minute of the first half. Ukraine, as they've been for most of the half, on the attack. Garmash with a deep cross. Husev can't keep it in play, and it's behind for a goal.
Garmash is just an early play, and he gets in some great positions, does some good things for the team, but his decision making, his passing has just been overhit or too short. But for me, I can't believe England haven't stopped the centre back getting on the ball yet.
I'll be presenting 606, by the way, at the end of this game. And I want it to be a good night, folks, I don't mean any over-optimism if we go through, but I want us to reflect on England getting into the last 8. There is the half-time whistle, and it's not been clever.
No, I think we've set our stall out to get a draw, at least. We haven't really shown anything going forward. Rooney should have scored it. Basically, the ball's going in the box. That's where we've looked our best. But you've got to say Ukraine have dictated the play. They've got... the two wingers, for me, have really caused problems, and England's got to step it up another level if they want to get some, because I can see Ukraine nicking a goal the way they're playing.
Heaven help us if they do, but Rooney should have scored with a header. Instead, at half-time, it's England 0, Ukraine 0.
But you always knew it was going to be like this, because England always put you through the mixer, don't they? And it's just also frustrating to see good players looking so tight as well down there, and just not relaxing and looking inhibited. Anyway, these are the lineups. Ukraine: Pyatov, Husiev, Kasharidi, Rakitsky and Selin, Timoshuk, Yarmolenko, Konoplyanka and Garmash, Devic and Malevsky. England: Hart, Johnson, Terry, Lescott and Cole, Milner, Gerrard, Parker, Young, Rooney and Welbeck. Victor Kasai, the referee from Hungary. No yellow cards. in the first half, and the best chance was probably Rooney's, Chris, wasn't it?
Yeah, most definitely. Well, you can't ask for a better chance. They were running at that, they were basically defending. They were all over them, Ukraine, without really testing Joe Hart. They were a lot of possession, really causing problems, and Rooney, for me, with his ability, should have scored.
Now, presumably, they're trying to tie things up here to make sure that the Sweden-France game also starts around about now. 0-0 there, 0-0 here. So at the moment it's France on top of the group with England in second place. Now they're coming out still for the second half. So it looks like this game is going to finish before the game in Kiev. And here come Ukraine for the first time with Devic. Ball down this near side, and Husiev plays the ball into... And he was really the danger man, Yarmolenko, who now finds Husiev, who went in with his shoulder, and there's a appeal for handball, I think, there. And I'm not sure what's been given.
No, he's given the handball, yes.
So Ashley Cole setting a new record tonight for England. 21 appearances in a major tournament, beating Shilton and Beckham. Ashley Cole, 97 caps, all of them have been starters. He takes the free kick for England and scoops the ball in towards Rooney, but the defender comes in front of Rooney and easily clears. Ball down the centre. John Terry was a bit slow to react to that, but Lescott gets there first and heads the ball back to Joe Hart. Remember, 0-0 will take England into the quarter-final, but goodness me, can we really bear another 44 minutes or so holding on for a 0-0? Joe Hart clears down the right-hand side for Milner. Milner heads it on. Defender slipped, but there's another one back, Kasharidi. Rooney comes across, but Kasharidi clears. And you just wonder whether... I remember Poland having a really good first half against the Czech Republic, running out of steam and then failing to qualify. Sweden's game against France, 50 seconds behind this one. 0-0 there, 0-0 here. England already taking their time as much as they can over restarts. Ball thrown on now for England down the right-hand side. Milner turning with the defender, and Milner's won a corner. Good play from James Milner. Corner kick to England.
Well, you've got to say, the way we've been playing tonight, that's our best chance of scoring goals, a set piece. I don't think we're playing enough football. We're not looking after the ball well enough to create good chances. Set pieces look the best bet.
Scott Parker just came off the field for a drink, but he's okay. Now then, we've got Young at the near post, Welbeck behind him. Corner kick to England, easy header away by Timoshuk, but Glenn Johnson will reach for it and get it back once more. Johnson feeds the captain Gerrard over on the right-hand side, the most consistent player in the England team. Gerrard battling down the right-hand side. In comes across towards Welbeck. Rooney scores at the far post. Wayne Rooney comes charging in. Another great ball in from Gerrard down the right-hand side. Rooney, who missed a good opportunity in the first half. Would you believe it? The big man is back. England lead 1-0.
Well, it's that man Gerrard again, isn't it? Works it well, gets himself a bit of space down that right-hand side, and he just trips in a terrific ball with pace across the near post. And unfortunately, by Ukraine, they didn't know how to deal with it. Wayne Rooney gambles. He goes in at the far post, anticipating it's going to come through, and it does. And when it comes through, he reacts. The Ukrainian players switch off. Goalkeeper should have done a lot better. A lot of bodies round him, but Rooney's there to head it in from a yard.
Well, after all the build-up to the game, Fabio Capello, of course, on behalf of Rooney, managed to get the suspension from 3 games down to 2. So he comes into this third game and hopefully, from an England point of view, might have subdued the crowd here as well. Rooney scored at the far post. England lead 1-0. Rooney's 29th international goal. Long ball forward. Ashley Cole is there, and Ashley Cole clears for a corner. And surely now this will give England confidence. We'll go to the French game in a moment. There's a corner kick to Ukraine over on the far side. And at the moment, of course, England are topping the group, with France, the last we heard, 0-0. All the England fans jumping up and down behind Joe Hart's goal. But now England, having scored, need to concentrate. Mustn't let Ukraine back into the game. In it goes, and it's headed behind by Johnson. That's Glenn Johnson into the crowd. Have Ukraine got 2 goals in them here? Remember, they came from 1 goal down to beat Sweden. But remember, they've never ever won a game in Donetsk. It's a corner kick to Ukraine again. England still have to be careful. Corner kick to Ukraine. Oh, and it's just headed across goal and out of play to this near side. And it's going to be a Ukraine throw-in by the corner flag. So a good response from the home side. Stunned by that Rooney goal. Ukraine the better team in the first half. But England have scored through Rooney on his return. His first goal, of course, at a tournament since Euro 2004. And now Timoshuk laying the ball forward, looking for Husiev. Husiev, I don't think will get that. That's a goal kick, so let's go to John Southall for that France-Sweden game.
Well, it's Sweden 0, France 0. I make it we're about 50 seconds behind you here in Kiev, but Sweden have carried on really where they left off in the first half. Very, very positive. They've made one change. Barami's gone off, and Wilhelmsen, who's looked a threat already, has come on, and the small pocket of French fans have gone very quiet. Sweden 0, France 0.
Thank you very much indeed, John. So Rooney's 29th goal. He's only one now behind Alan Shearer, Nat Lofthouse and Tom Finney, and he can't keep the ball in now over on the far side. And I think not only should we talk about Rooney, of course, but Steven Gerrard has now played a major part in 3 of the England goals. Remember, it was his ball in which Lescott headed in, his cross in which Andy Carroll headed in, and now another ball in from Gerrard which Rooney's turned in, Chris.
He's just had a great tournament. He's been a big plus, massive plus. You know, he's had a lot of injuries in the season, but he's come here, he looks fit, he looks sharp, his distribution's good, his movement, everything. He's really played well in this tournament.
England leading 1-0 against Ukraine. It was a very, very nervy first half from them, but now they have this lead through Rooney. Will Ukraine be able to respond here? The ball, and they will need to make changes, of course. We wonder whether Shevchenko can still come on for what would be his last appearance if Ukraine go out today. England tidy up. No, they don't. It's loose. And it's Timoshuk now. England still need to hold on here. And Ashley Cole hasn't managed to clear it. It's Yarmolenko as Ukraine try to respond. And now Husiev. Husiev's ball in, and Joe Hart has conceded a corner kick. It was right underneath the bar, and the net is billowing as well as Joe Hart turns it over. And Ukraine have a corner. England weren't very convincing against Sweden from the set pieces. At the moment, all we can hear are the England fans behind Hart's goal. But of course, if Ukraine can equalise, everything will change in terms of atmosphere here. England still need to be very, very careful here. Corner kick to Ukraine. England lead 1-0. In comes a corner, headed back again for another corner kick. This time by Ashley Cole at the near post. Ukraine looking interested in a short corner, and Ashley Cole was aware of that. So 2 players discussing tactics down there. One of them is the defender Rakitsky, and he has a word with Konoplyanka, the man who's going to take the corner. 1-0 to England, but another corner for England to defend. And here it comes to the near post, headed away by England by Danny Welbeck. Out to Timoshuk. England can't get the ball at the moment. Timoshuk's ball right across the field for the fullback Selim. Instead it's Yarmolenko who keeps it in. Good ball onto Devic. Devic now 30 yards away from Hart's goal. Ball right across the field towards Konoplyanka. Ashley Cole didn't cut it out, and not sure if that's gone behind for a corner or a throw-in down this near side. It's going to be another corner.
Another corner, good spell of pressure again. The Ukraine, they've responded well from going a goal down.
Ukraine really have responded, as Chris Waddle was saying. They've got another corner. England lead 1-0. Corner kick to Ukraine. This is a deeper one, and Gerrard manages to get it out of the penalty area. England just need to get some possession here as Gerrard goes across to the field and plays it forward. Rooney's just inside the Ukraine half. Has he got the pace and legs to take him forward? Rooney in the penalty area, has to check, holds the ball up, finds Milner. Milner's shot partially cleared by Ukraine. What a ball that was by Gerrard to thread it through to Rooney.
Obviously Rooney was screening at him because Steven Gerrard couldn't really see Rooney, but he's just played it down into space. By the way, Yarmolenko very placed to get back.
It's now Ashley Young of England. 1-0 to England, 0-0 France and Sweden. At the moment, England going to go top the group as Gerrard plays another good ball to the right hand side now, and Johnson, Glenn Johnson of England, trying to win a corner kick over on the far side. Ukraine tidy up, and that's a good ball out of defence to Yarmolenko. You're listening to 5 Live. Nearly 9 minutes gone in the second half as in goes John Terry with a poor challenge really inside the centre circle, brings the player down. Out comes Oleg blocking once more. Milevsky it was who was fouled, and England reluctant to give the ball back to Ukraine, who have a free kick. And across comes the referee to speak to John Terry and says, if you do that again, you'll be booked.
Yeah, you know, early in games, if this had been a first or second game, I think he might have got yellow out there.
Yeah.
But they don't want people suspended, and he's not even on a yellow, John Terry.
Ukraine following the restart now over on the far side. England leading by 1-0, so they have a little bit of a cushion now, because Ukraine will need to score twice here to prevent England from going through to a quarter-final either against Italy or Spain. Back to John Southall watching France. John.
And Sweden have scored. It's Sweden 1, France 0. Ibrahimovic with a magnificent volley from 12 yards out. Sweden 1, France 0.
Will that news filter through, I wonder, in the next few minutes to the England players? More on that in a moment. It's now shot driven in high by Konoplyanka. So at the moment, England would be on 7 points, France 4, and of course Ukraine 3. So at the moment we'd be having England playing Italy and France playing Spain. But still a long way to go, Chris.
Yeah, there is, but France have got to score 2 goals.
1-0 to Sweden. Ibrahimovic, 1-0 to England. Rooney. Welbeck's header on. Rooney won't get it on that occasion. Ukraine trying to clear, but in steps Gerrard once more. Gerrard for Parker. Parker to Rooney. Touch was slightly behind Welbeck. Back again to Rooney. Young's available down the left-hand side. Goes to Welbeck instead. And now Ashley Young. What's the cross going to be like here from Young? On the edge of the penalty area. Young sets himself up in towards Rooney. A little bit over Rooney, though, at the far post. Milner came charging in. Goal kick.
Well, that's where you want Ashley Young. You know, we want him on the ball. We want him in the last third because he can deliver. He can beat a man. He can shoot. We know all that, what he's got. And that's where you want him. I think, unfortunately, we judge him too heavily on his defensive qualities, and he's not really in the team for that, mate.
Just to repeat, with 35 minutes to go, Sweden are leading 1-0 against France. England are leading 1-0 here against Ukraine. And they're putting the score up on the board here. So now everybody's aware. Sweden 1, France 0. And the England fans have seen it. And they are jumping up and down over on the far side because that gives England even more of a cushion here. But they still have to concentrate. They mustn't let events elsewhere affect them down there. As now Milner will jump down the right-hand side. And how much heart and soul will there be in this Ukraine team now? Milner's fallen awkwardly and he's holding his head. So although he's fallen on his back, maybe he's got a bang on the head there as Steven Gerrard, the captain, comes across. Gerrard has been much more demonstrative as a captain at this tournament than he was in South Africa 2 years ago. I think the fact that he knows he's come into this tournament as the number 1 captain, hasn't inherited it. Long ball downfield. Lescott now up against Milevski, and Parker's waiting. Young's made a break. Parker looks for Young. The ball hits Young on the back. Young now hasn't gone past the defender Husiev. Husiev waits for the ball to go out of play. It's a throw-in, even though Gary Neville's appealing for it. And Ukraine have a throw. Welbeck steps in well for England. Gerrard and Milner it was, and now it's Gerrard. Gerrard feeding and it doesn't feed Johnson down the right. And Ukraine looking to counter-attack with Konoplyanka. Gerrard got there first though, and Ukraine will have to make some changes, you feel, in the last half an hour here. Have a throw-in. We played 12.5 minutes of what has so far been a very good second half for England. They lead 1-0 through Rooney, and they're also warming up Theo Walcott down there. Long one now across the field. Maybe Walcott was warming up in case there was a problem with Milner. Now it's Ashley Cole. Much better from England. Cole just waiting. Welbeck makes his move. Cole still holds, and then he's pushed over. That was really poor play from, I think it was Garmash again, who's had a really mixed night. And Ukraine have conceded a free kick. Very surprising, really, that Blokhin left out people like Nazarenko and Voronin. I mean, Nazarenko is the 3rd leading goal scorer for Ukraine after Shevchenko and Rebrov. So, free kick to England, leading 1-0. What they would give for a second one here. John Terry and Lescott go forward. If England get a second, then surely that would be enough. Young's ball, little reverse ball into Welbeck. Back again to Young. England looking much brighter now. Young's ball in, and Rooney leapt for it at the near post. Ukraine managed to clear. England throw in down this near side.
Another dangerous ball. Ashley Young on that right foot loves to bend it in with a lot of pace. Rakitsky this time again spots the danger, heads it away.
My apologies to Graham Taylor. We must hear from him in a moment as Rooney's been penalised. So Graham, it's a little rosier now here.
Of course it is. And I think from everybody's point of view, really, the Ukrainians have done fine, they've done well, but as we said in that first 45 minutes, the end product was what was missing. England have come out here, they've got their break in there, they've got a break to get their goal out, and once again I think they're playing well, they're playing more comfortably. But I have to mention Steven Gerrard. I think he's had a superb game. I really think this tournament we've seen the best of Steven Gerrard. Been excellent.
Indeed. John Southall watching France losing 1-0 to Sweden. John.
And they're really struggling. Sweden 1, France 0. The French goalkeeper Loris is keeping his side in it here. He's made 2 really good saves. The first from Wilhelmsen from 12 yards out, and then the second from Melberg. He was about 6 yards out from the corner, just tipped it over the bar. And the goal, absolutely magnificent from Ibrahimovic. 16 yards out, both feet off the ground, volleyed it in. I don't think we've seen a better one at the tournament. Sweden 1, France 0.
Well, France are still going to qualify, provided Ukraine don't sting England here, and they've got the ball down the right-hand side, leading by 1-0. Husiev now into Devic into midfield for Yarmolenko. England leading through Rooney's goal. Yarmolenko, it's all a little bit slow on the edge of the penalty area, but as the ball breaks away, it's clipped off an England player, and that is going to be a Ukraine corner, so there's still potential danger here. Ukraine corner over on the left.
I don't think they switch off, mate. I think the build-up play's been good from Ukraine, just final third.
Ball played into the ball, just headed over at the near post by Milevsky, and if ever England needed a wake-up call, that was it.
Well, short corner caught them out, wasn't it? Yarmolenko gets on it with that left foot, just drops his shoulder, gets half a yard. Question mark about offside on that replay for me, but he still should hit the target.
England half an hour away from meeting Italy in the quarter-finals of Euro 2012. Imagine if that game takes place, Fabio Capello's emotion. It's going to be England over on the far side looking for a throw-in, and it's been given by the linesman, and there's plenty of movement down there from substitutes. I can see Andy Carroll is down there, Theo Walcott as well. England leading 1-0. The Ukraine fans trying to lift their team, but I did suggest that in that Poland game when they had to beat the Czech Republic, Poland had a really good first half, and then Juracek, of course, scored for the Czech Republic in the way that Rooney has here for England. But Ukraine have got great heart, great national fervour, of course, here behind them. But England have had a much better time since they scored, as Ukraine tidy up. Pietov's there, the goalkeeper, and plays the ball to Selin over on the left-hand side. As we move into the last half an hour, it's Milevsky, who was very close to a goal, playing the ball into Devic. Out comes Joe Hart. Devic is there, and Hart's made a save. It's cleared off the line by England. They are appealing for the goal. Who on earth got back there for England?
It was
it John Terry?
Yep.
John Terry managed to scoop it off the line. Haven't seen a replay as Parker now goes forward, and he's been brought down on the edge of the area. Well, England still living dangerously, because Milevsky headed over at the near post, and then just moments ago, as Timoshuk gets a yellow card, Ukraine seems certain to equalise. Absolutely certain. Timoshuk, by the way, with that yellow card would be out of the next game if Ukraine still get through. Still haven't seen a replay of that incident. Must have been very close to being over the line when Terry cleared it. Chris Waddle's going to have a little look at it as we wait for Steven Gerrard to stand over this free kick for England. Hart made an important save. That was over the line when Terry cleared, and there are linesmen behind. The whole of the ball was way over the line. England, remember, they say what comes round comes around. England were denied a goal in the World Cup in Bloemfontein, and the crowd, have they seen it? I'm not sure whether they've replayed it on the big screen, but Gerrard and Rooney are over the ball. England very lucky still to be leading. That was, well, if Oleg Blokhin sees, I'm sure there's a monitor down there, and they're looking at the linesman. It's all down to the linesman. Anyway, free kick here for England, which Rooney is standing over, and Rooney puts it into the side netting. And, well, goodness me, they're unlucky.
But I can't believe, you've got the linesman and you've got the guy on the goal line. He's literally 6 yards away. He's 6 yards away from the post, and he couldn't see that. And good news for England, but
that was a break for England. Of course, it was a cruel break for them in the World Cup, and now a shot driven right across the 6-yard area by Yarmolenko. There are still enough moments here to trouble England, because they know that if Ukraine can equalise here, the whole atmosphere will change. Remember that France are trailing to Sweden on this very anxious night. At the moment, England are going to top the group, with France finishing second. I tell you what, if they showed that on the big screen here, they don't show controversial incidents, you would have 50,000 Ukraine fans, completely furious, and they would just be justified as well. And how many times will we have this debate?
But apart from that clearance, apart from the clearance, he should have scored anyway.
Yes. But Sepp Blatter, as we see it again, how many inches over the line is that? A long way over the line when John Terry hooked it back. But the referee not supported by his officials. That's the reason they're out there. Goal line technology would have shown that was a Ukraine equaliser. That had to be a foul throw, by the way, over on the far side, but the referee lets them continue. And we played nearly 20 minutes of the second half. There are still some rocky moments for England, who lead through Rooney's goal. Ibrahimovic has scored for Sweden against France. England now with Rooney. Wonder whether he'll be able to last the 90 minutes. That was a bit of a tired ball from him. And England lose possession, and they're still clumsy at times. Throw quickly taken by Hussein. It's Yarmolenko on the edge of the area. Lescott's trying to hold him up. Lescott turning him towards the corner flag. Gerrard does well to keep it in and avoid the corner. And then Gerrard clears. I'll get some thoughts from Graham Taylor in a moment as Ukraine go piling in. Presumably they've had messages from the sideline as well from Oleg Blokhin that they've been denied a perfect goal here. And imagine the newspapers tomorrow in Ukraine with those images if Ukraine go out of the tournament tonight, as the ball is threaded through dangerously once more into the penalty area. Glenn Johnson's there. England are hanging on a little bit at the moment to this 1-0 lead. Graham Taylor.
Obvious goal, wasn't it? We all get the goal line technology argument again, but it was pretty obvious then. The assistant linesman or assistant referee or whatever they call them these days should have seen that. I can't believe how he didn't see it. And so we're going to get all of these kind of things coming in. From England, a very fortunate point of view. But let me say this, in all tournaments, you need an amount of good luck. And if it's come England's way, then so be it. But you do need it. And that was certainly a very, very lucky moment for England.
Well, from here, obviously, with the naked eye, we couldn't see it until we saw the replay. But the official behind the goal there is just inches away from the incident. Ukraine 0, England 1 here in Euro 2012. As England almost win the ball, now they do with Parker. Almost the halfway point of the second half. Wayne Rooney for England, the goal scorer. Plays the ball down the right, and that wasn't very well delivered from Rooney. It should have been an easy pass to Milner, who's trying to win it, and Ukraine clear quickly.
Well, I think from a couple of little spells in that, you've got to say Ukraine were the better team first half. England had the best chance. In second half again, it's all Ukraine for me.
And they're coming on again. There's some good pace once more back in the side again. England with a back pass to Joe Hart. Hart clears. That's a good ball in the end to Rooney. Rooney now gives it early to Welbeck. Welbeck's got Ukraine defenders around him and he can't control it. So the halfway point of the second half, with England just 22.5 minutes away from the quarter-final. Here's Alan Green.
We mustn't be hypocrites. We complain long and loudly about the denial of Lampard. The assistant on the goal line is a disgrace. What is he there for? It should be 1-1. England still lead 1-0. Milner down the right side, checks onto his left foot, crosses high towards Rooney. Goalkeeper unconvincing, shot driven in by Cole, saved by the keeper.
Well, I don't think England's used the ball well enough tonight again for me, but they've had 3 or 4 very good chances, haven't they? And that was a great chance, that.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, the goalkeeper just flapped at it, pushed it out to Ashley Cole. Terrific strike by Ashley Cole on target. Good save this time by Piatov. 22 minutes left for play here on 5 Live. England lead Ukraine 1-0. Sweden lead France 1-0. Corner played in and punched clear by the goalkeeper. Gerrard tries to shoot from 30 yards, hits a defender, rebounds to the halfway line, and here's Glenn Johnson just tipping it down the right flank to Milner, who initially kept it in play. Now he's tackled by Garmash, and it's out for a throw-in. Shevchenko's coming on, and so too is Walcott. Walcott is replacing Milner.
Well, again,
which is interesting in the circumstances.
He helps Glenn Johnson out immensely. I looked at half time, he covered the most ground for England. He puts a terrific shift in down that right hand side, and I know he doesn't get the floor he probably deserves, but he's worked his socks off again and just helps Glenn Johnson immensely.
And who will Shevchenko replace? I still think they've lacked an out and out threat in the striking sense.
David should have scored. It was over the line, but he should have scored before it hit Joe Hart and it went up in the air. He had enough time to put it anywhere he wanted in the goal.
Miller's taking an inordinate time to leave the pitch, and I've got to say, if that was, quote, a foreign player, I'd be slaughtering him. for the amount of time that he's wasting, Milner. Shevchenko coming on for Devic. Well, the roar to great Andrei Shevchenko is obvious. Can he deliver? He scored twice, remember, against the Swedes to turn around a deficit. 2-headed goals. He's got 21 minutes to try to provide something here for the host nation. England with a throw-in on the far side. Don Johnson takes it and he gets another throw-in as the challenge was made. This is midway inside the Ukraine half. We didn't quite expect such.
Malevsky's gone into a withdrawn role, which Devic played, and Shevchenko's gone up top.
Here's Rooney. Rooney slide the ball through. Oh my goodness, it's just behind Walcott, and out comes Piatov to gather it. No time for him to waste. At the moment, England have 7 points, France have 4, and Ukraine have 3. Good stuff. I mean, Ukraine have to win the match to get above the French because they lost. Here's Gerrard to the far side, and it's played back by Johnson to goalkeeper Joe Hart. The lines are open for 606 0500 909 693, and I'll be presenting the programme in around about 35 minutes time. I'll be on our air for about 9 and 10 minutes. Plenty of time to take your calls. Make sure you let your feelings be known. Kacheridi to Rakitsky, and Rakitsky to Konoplyanka on the far side of the field. Shevchenko's right through the middle. He wants the ball played in his direction. It goes instead to Yarmolenko. Yarmolenko to Husa. Approaching the penalty area. Drives it in low. Gets it back off Ashley Young. Crosses into the penalty area. And then Malevsky chooses the wrong option. Though it could be kept in play. It's actually well played by Husev. He wins a corner.
Even there, the official behind the goal line, it was a yard away from
him. What are they doing there?
He turned his back on it.
It's a joke. Can you imagine? We'd be apoplectic if England had been denied a goal in such circumstances. No hypocrisy here on 5 Live. Only fairness. Corner to Ukraine. And Shevchenko alert around the edge of the penalty area. Here it comes by Rakitsky, and Rakitsky, whose delivery beforehand had been excellent, overhits it, and it's behind for a goal kick.
Well, he's trying to put far too much pace on it. Really, with his left foot, he should be aiming for the under the crossbar.
Is the umpteenth replay of the John Terry incident, and I mean, how can the idiotic assistant on the line not see it? How can he not see that? Desperate. Send him home, for goodness sake. He's getting expenses and money for being out here. Ridiculous. Free kick to Ukraine, and there's going to be a yellow card for Steven Gerrard. Now, he did lead with his arm. So, yellow card for the skipper.
That was a bit harsh, that. He's not that type of player.
Are we going to concede 2 goals in the last 18 minutes? I don't think so. We shouldn't do. But, you know, we're leading 1-0. And I don't mind using the word we. For goodness sake, this is England. And we're listening to 5 Live. We are neutral in terms of our view of incidents. That's a good shot driven in. Hart spilt it. He was very, very lucky. Malevsky should have converted it.
That was a terrific shot. Joe Hart did ever so well to get it away.
Another scare for England. I wouldn't want to even concede 1 goal, but England on the counter-attack here. Now then Gerrard is obstructed, and that might be a yellow card for Yakitsky. It is. So eventually the Hungarian referee flashing yellow into the final 17 minutes of the game.
It was a definite yellow, wasn't it? He's took one for the team there. England were breaking quick. I think they had 4 or 5 shirts. We just get a replay of this shot. It's moving everywhere. And Joe Hart gets his left hand to it and just pushes it away, and they scramble it away. Terrific save.
Lescott to take the free kick for England, who lead here by 1-0 in Donetsk. France 0, Sweden 1 in Kiev. At the moment, France and England are going through, but England is group winners. And England would then play Italy in Kiev, and the French would have the joyous task of facing Spain in Donetsk. Here's Welbeck, good run by Welbeck. Rooney to his right, into Rooney. Rooney tackle, loses the ball to sell in the left back, and it's behind for a corner.
Yeah, obviously throwing bodies forward now, Ukraine, and they're leaving a few gaps, and England on the break, look dangerous. There'll be no rush from Steven Gerrard to hit this corner from the left-hand side.
Gerrard said the other night, asked after the game about Rooney, he said, we have to have Rooney back, he's our best player. No, he isn't. Gerrard is. Gerrard takes the corner deep. Rooney will header at goal, saving the goalkeeper Piatov.
Well, marking was absolutely shocking from Ukraine.
And now Glenn Johnson has fouled Shevchenko, and well done Shevchenko. You know, he could have made a mountain out of that and got Glenn Johnson booked, but he didn't. It's only a free kick, which has been quickly taken by Ukraine. A fraction over a quarter of an hour to go. Shevchenko is down the left at the moment. It's with Yarmolenko. He's got no width available to his right. Has to pass back to Timoshuk. Timoshuk would miss the quarter-final should Ukraine qualify. Increasingly unlikely as they trail here to England 1-0. Another change coming up. Butko, who's a right back. Don't know what his changing role would be. Even more forward position for Husa, presumably. Ukraine have slowed down. Kachiridi inside the centre circle. Forward to the disappointing Garmash. Back to Kachiridi. There's no real movement from Shevchenko. Shevchenko, though, gets the ball played to his feet. Taps it back. Doesn't find a blue shirt. And England have it back with the goalkeeper, Joe Hart. Hart clears it over the halfway line. Rakitsky heads it infield. Rooney might get there. He barged Timoshuk in the back, but Ukraine have the ball. No need to give a free kick. Konoplyanka over the halfway line. Dazzling shot just a few minutes ago. That looks like a good cross too. And it reaches Husa, who controls it close to the corner fly. Crosses on the volley. High towards the edge of the penalty area. Headed away by Glenn Johnson. Bounces over Rooney. Tap forward. Yarmolenko. Ukraine finishing strongly as they have to. Trailing England 1-0. Yarmolenko breaking in field and then slips the ball to the left side. Konoplyanka. Edge of the penalty area. Oh, that's a terrible shot. Almost went for a throw-in. It's a goal kick. Let's get an update from John Southall in Kiev.
Sweden 1, France 0, but the French just showing a bit more intent in the last 10-15 minutes. We saw a little bit of quality from Benzema. He shot it wide, and Veer also has seen a decent shot from the edge of the area, palmed away. But we played 75 minutes here. It's Sweden 1, France 0.
At the moment, England will win the group. France will finish as runners-up, and Ukraine, like Poland before them, won't get out of the group stage. But there's still maybe some football to play here. We've got 13 minutes on the clock here on 5 Live. 0500 909 693, the number for 606, which I'll be presenting in around about 25 minutes time. Nazarenko, the bald Nazarenko, will come on very shortly for Ukraine. He'll be Blokhin's last substitution, and he's replacing Garmash, which is not really a surprise, is it?
No, he's had a funny game, hasn't he? His decision making's let him down. He's still a young lad, 22. He don't always want the ball. Oh, you got to give him credit for that. He never hid them, but some of his decisions were very poor tonight.
12 and a half minutes to go. England leading, but we must ask ourselves, have they played well?
I don't think they've played.
Yellow card for Ashley Cole for wasting time, according to the referee. And get on with it, he says. We've got a few yellows to take into the quarter-final. Remember, yellow cards will only be eliminated after the quarter-final stage. You get booked again in the last 8 and you would miss the semi-final. Throw into Ukraine. Or rather, it's a free kick's been awarded. Rakitsky just taps it back to the goalkeeper, Piatov. Rakitsky takes it up again. Great noise from the Ukraine fans, but they're increasingly desperate. They need not just one goal, they need 2 goals. Konoplyanka on the far side into Yarmolenko. Timoshuk to his right in space. Poor pass though. Intercepted by Welbeck. Onto Rooney. Rooney spins, running down the inside left channel. Rooney still going to Welbeck. Welbeck, well, the ball hit his hand, didn't run kindly for England, and Timoshuk should be able to clear it. Shevchenko breaks towards the left. Terry's with him, and the pass was overhead, and it runs through to Joe Hart, and we're inside the final 11 minutes.
Ukraine has made a few substitutions. They're getting a little bit desperate. They're going for a bit route one. The best they've played is when they've got it wide. They've played some good stuff to Ukraine tonight, I think, and just that penalty area has let them down.
Here's Lescott chipping the ball straight out of play. That wasn't great.
And when they did get in the penalty area, the linesman let them down.
Well, technically, it's not the linesman. It's that idiotic assistant on the goal line.
Is that what he's called?
Yeah, he's just an extra assistant. In other words, an extra waste of time. Looks good in a uniform. Gets good expenses. Good money for being at the European Championship and can't see an obvious goal. I repeat, had it been a goal denied to England, we'd have been jumping up and down, banging our fists, screaming at the officials. So we mustn't be hypocrites. It should be 1-1. As it is, it remains 1-0 to England. The goal scored by Wayne Rooney. And Rooney's had other chances tonight as well. Nazarenko on a substitute. Back to Timoshuk. Timoshuk now to Selin, the left fullback. Ukraine pouring players forward now. Nazarenko takes it up. Shoots from 25 yards. Doesn't keep it down. Head back. And it's over the crossbar.
Well, I think that's Ukraine basically, isn't it? Good build-up play, some lovely football, good movement they've got. They do get into good pockets where it's hard to pick up. A lot of movement, but the shooting tonight's just been very poor from them.
Yeah. And Shevchenko, I think, he's only on because of his presence and the hope that something falls to him in the penalty area.
Yeah, but he got the crowd going for 5 minutes, didn't he?
Yes. Another free kick given to Ukraine. Timoshuk stabs the ball to the left to Nazarenko. Andy Carroll's coming on. You would have thought for Welbeck, whose contribution hasn't been that good, has it? That's a good long ball. Played towards the right side, towards Butko. Butko's not playing as a right back. He's wide right in the midfield. Timoshuk to Nazarenko. On to Timoshuk again. He spins. Steven Gerrard has been outstanding for England. Takes the ball off him. Then he was fouled. And it's a free kick to England. Easily England's best player, Steven Gerrard.
You can actually see what's happening here. Danny Welbeck knew he was coming off. He was standing down this left touch line and he knew he was coming up, so he ran right across the field.
Ran towards the other side. And here he comes, slowly, checking his shin pads. Seriously, Danny, you don't need to do that now. No, I don't like this. I don't like it. I don't approve of it when opponents do that. You know, if we were a goal down, we wouldn't like it. Welbeck eventually, within a couple of yards of Andy Carroll, they shake hands, and Carroll's on. Well, maybe, give him his due, maybe Welbeck's tired. 8 minutes left for play here in Donetsk. England 1, Ukraine 0. France losing to Sweden 1-0. Carroll heads the ball on, but beyond Rooney, and it's behind for a goal kick, and Andy Carroll will certainly put in a mammoth shift over the remaining 8 minutes in terms of workload. Piatov takes the goal kick short. Carroll intercepts it from Nazarenko's lazy pass, and then Rooney can't backheel the ball to Carroll, and Timoshuk takes it away up to the halfway line to Shevchenko. Shevchenko to Butko down the right and played back to Kachiridi. I don't think they've got enough ideas, Ukraine, in these circumstances.
No, and England's got behind the ball and they're frustrating them now, and they're running out of ideas, and that's why we've seen them shoot from 30 yards every time they've got within range, and the shooting's been very, very poor.
As things stand, it'll be England against Italy in Kiev, and France will play Spain here in this stadium in Donetsk. Rooney has lost the ball. He looks very tired too, Wayne Rooney. Yarmolenko to Nazarenko. On to Konoflianko on the far side of the field. Inside left channel. 35 yards out to Shevchenko. They need a dramatic goal soon, Ukraine, to have any hope. Remember, they've got to beat England. They've got the ball with Nazarenko, but they're a long way from goal, and only Andy Carroll's left upfield for Roy Hodgson's side. It's chipped towards the right side and headed out of play by Ashley Young. Throw in to Ukraine. Level with the edge of the England penalty area. I'll bring in Graham Taylor in just a moment to see if he feels, as I do, that England have got it in the bag. Throw-in goes to Nazarenko. Nazarenko crosses and hits an England player. It's Scott Parker, and goes behind for a corner. Andy Carroll's back defending. Very useful in these situations. Here comes Nazarenko into towards the near post towards Shevchenko, and who put it behind? It's an England player who put it behind. John Terry.
Just look at that leg. Well, I don't know what you called him before. That idiot behind the goal.
He's just a prat.
He just turns away when there's a decision to be made.
Nazarenko. I hope there's someone judging his contribution to the game, or lack of contribution. Nazarenko with 6 minutes to go. In towards the near post. It was a diving header from Shevchenko. Blocked by the defender. Played in by Nazarenko again. Deep and behind. Goal kick. Thank you very much.
Well, blocking's going mad again down that touchline again. But they've just lacked quality. And Oxlade-Chamberlain's coming ready to come on. And they've just lacked quality in the final third. And yes, they'll say that would have been 1-1 if that goal which did cross the line. But listen, they've dominated possession. Dominated it.
Oxlade-Chamberlain, presumably for Ashley Young. We'll see, but not yet. Play is resumed. Goal kick taken. Carroll heads it on. Smashed upfield by Selin. Here's Yarmolenko. Yarmolenko's probably looked the pick of the players for Ukraine. Oh, and that was guilty by Lescott, giving the ball away to Shevchenko. On now to Timoshuk. Timoshuk's pass was wretched, intercepted by Cole. On to Gerrard. Cole, Gerrard exchanged passes again, and now it's with Ashley Young. To Ashley Cole. Chipped towards Rooney in the halfway line. Gets to Rooney. Rooney, can he bring the ball under control? He can. He finds Carroll. Well done, Andy Carroll. Back to Young. Good that England are keeping possession in these late stages of the game, leading by a goal to nil. Young moves forward, then he's brought down by Shevchenko, and to the referee, I thought he looked at Shevchenko and he thought, well, I'm not going to book him.
No, he had to book him.
He had to book him.
He got nutmegged off Ashley Young. Lovely little nutmeg. Obviously he didn't enjoy that, so that is a terrible tackle as well. Ashley Young stayed down. That was a bad tackle. Shevchenko could have been more than yellow. That.
Any real danger for England, Graham Taylor?
I don't think so, really, because we've gone right through the game. England have come up against a side that are better than them, that have had more possession of them, but what they can't do is put the ball in the net. And if they had that ability to put the ball in the net, Ukraine now would be well ahead. And one's just had to look at it. You feel some, I wouldn't say disappointment, but Ukraine have done so well. Once they have put it over the line, it's been disallowed as well. But Ukraine have been the better side in this particular game, but England are going to win it.
Oxlade-Chamberlain has replaced Rooney. Cole takes the free kick up towards the Ukraine penalty area, headed on by Gerrard. There's Walcott. Back to Johnson. Gerrard available, but Ukraine player has gone down injured inside the penalty area. I think it's Rakitsky. He's clutching his thigh, but they've already made all three changes that they can make. Arguably, you know, Chris, the French were better, the Swedes were better, and Ukraine have been better. But England are going to win the group.
It's football, isn't it? I think people won't look at the results. It's a results business, isn't it? Especially at this level. People will be looking at it and saying, you know, the luck's staying with it. How far can we go in this competition? But football-wise, yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think we haven't played fluent football where you expect. Apart from Steven Gerrard, for me, there's nobody really got on that ball and used it like we want them to use it. We've been very rigid, very solid. We've worked hard, rode a bit of luck. But, you know, people say, hey, stop looking at the negatives. We're in the quarterfinals.
Gerrard has clearly been England's best player in all three games. Anyway, there's a header out of play on the near side of the field for throw into Ukraine. There are only 2 minutes to go, plus added time. They've got to score twice. England leading 1-0. Sweden leading France 1-0. England will top the group. France will finish runners-up. Yarmolenko. Back to Yakitsky, who's recovered. Yakitsky onto Konoplyanka on the far side of the field. Moving infield away from Theo Walcott. Onto Yarmolenko. Timoshuk available. Yarmolenko not looking that way, not initially. Now he stabs it to the right. To Butko. Butko to Timoshuk. His cross was poor. It was blocked by the body of Scott Parker. Well done, Scott Parker. He hassled Timoshuk as well and forced the play back inside the Ukraine half. 90 seconds to go. That's a good ball forward by Yakitsky, as so often tonight. Konoplyanka chipped the ball into the penalty. Yarmolenko, almost a handball by John Terry, did well to evade the ball with his hands, and England clear it. A good touch by Carroll. Oxlade-Chamberlain. Now, can England get another goal here? Walcott to his left. Oxlade-Chamberlain looked but didn't deliver.
No, you've got to give Rakitsky a lot of credit. He got back and just towed it back to the goalkeeper before Oxley team was going to roll the ball for Walcott. Good defending.
Inside the 90th minute. Confusion amongst the Ukraine players there. And here's Ashley Young into Oxlade-Chamberlain. Andy Carroll on the far side of the field. Completely unmarked, Andy Carroll. All he's got to do is hold the ball in England's possession. So he tapped it back to his club and country skipper, Stephen Gerrard. To Ashley Young again. We're almost there. France have really capitulated tonight against Sweden. A game you felt sure they would win. But not only are they losing it, Nasri's gone off with a bad injury, it seems. And they're going to have to play the holder Spain.
I think sometimes, Alan, you're in the driving seat and you probably think Sweden, they're out, they're not that bothered. And you can't just switch it on. You've got to be a professional, and they obviously turned up thinking it was going to be a stroll in the park, which it wasn't.
The number for 606 0500 909 693 is 3 minutes of time have been added on for stoppages. The number 3 for England. Cole plays it back to Lescott. A lazy clearance by Lescott. But it does reach a white shirt. Oxlade-Chamberlain. In it goes to Carroll. Carroll lost the ball and then he committed a foul and trying to win it back. Free kick, is it? It's got to be a free kick. No, for a foul by Andy Carroll.
No, he played the ball, kicked it out.
So blocking.
No, we're blocking.
Blocking agreed with me.
He's like Norm Wisdom, isn't he?
Here, Yarmolenko. Too late for Ukraine. Nazarenko to the left side, and Konoplyanka up to the edge of the England penalty area, onto his right foot as he usually does. Still allowed to run. Yarmolenko shoots just wide. Hart would have been beaten.
And they're two good players, Konoplyanka, and definitely Yarmolenko. We'll see a lot more of him. Young player, good left foot. He looks a talent.
Well, the England fans are absolutely delirious in the far right hand corner, as well they might be. I mean, are we being harsh in saying this is not a good England display? It's a winning England display. They're going to win the group. They're going to evade Spain. It's practically everything we'd have wished for. But they have not played well.
Andy Carroll's had a strong challenge there, and the referees having a word with him. He's come across.
Not a yellow card.
Well, that's the way Andy Carroll plays. You get away in the Premier League with it, not on this level.
While the Ukrainian player is receiving treatment, he can't afford time to waste having treatment. John Southall in Kiev.
18,000 yellow-clad Swedes are celebrating it. Sweden 2, France 0. Seb Larsson 8 yards out, smashing a volley in. Sweden 2, France 0.
England are winning the group. Even if Ukraine equalise now, England will win the group. It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy.
Wonderful game.
We love it.
Great, isn't it?
We love it.
All them predictions.
Oh, there's the score just being flashed up on the giant screen. The England fans have seen it. They know that even a Ukraine equaliser now will be nothing to worry about. Inside the last minute of added time in Donetsk. Joe Hart with a goal kick. Carroll jumps. Heads it on. Oxlade-Chamberlain chases after just to put the central defender under pressure. He passes back to Piatov. Wide to Butko. Into Timoshuk. Timoshuk on the volley. Lashes it upfield. Scott Parker can control it. Nazarenko deep inside his own half. Plays it to the left side, but we've only got 25 seconds to go. Konoplyanka. 5 live, bringing you the dramatic climax here in Donetsk. England, though, are going through to the last 8 of Euro 2012, which is wonderful.
Well, we thought it'd get there. We knew it would be a hard game, and it has been a hard game. There's no doubt about that. But surprised if France losing 2 to Sweden against Sweden 2-0. But listen, England go through and they play Italy, which will be another very, very good game.
There is the final whistle, and England celebrate. Stephen Gerrard in particular celebrates, as he's every right to celebrate. You know, I mentioned his interview with Ian Dennis after the victory over Sweden, and he's talking about Wayne Rooney coming back into the team, and he said, well, he's our best player. No, he isn't, Stephen. You are England's best player.
Well, in this tournament, listen, Wayne Rooney, we hope will get fit. They look tired second half, and it has cost him not playing football for a while. But you've got to say Stephen Gerrard is a massive plus, and if he can keep this form up, England can obviously keep hopefully progressing. But I've got to say, you know, it's not been negative, and people say just have a go at them or whatever. We're not playing great football, we're just getting results.
And what about the assistant, eh? Send him home.
He'll be on a beach next week.
Well, I don't know where we're going to be next week because all our travel plans have changed. But who cares? Final score here in Donetsk with 6:06 still to come. England 1, Ukraine 0.